Welcome back to another 5 minutes to a better mix, where we're looking at 31 mixing tips in 31 days. It's Graham, your host, and today I want to look at fattening up a snare drum using a good old EQ. So you can do this with any stock EQ in your DAW. It doesn't matter what EQ you have, but sometimes you have a snare drum sound, and it might have enough crack, so it might cut through plenty, but it might not have that weight, that round fatness that you want. So if you ever find yourself in a position where you're thinking, I wish the snare were fill in the blank, and that blank is fatter, then here's something you can do. Grab your EQ and get to work. What I'm going to do is play a little bit of the song. Right? There's that snare. You know, and it cuts through fine, but it doesn't have any fat weight to it. So grab an EQ. In this case, I'm going to grab the Avid EQ3. And the first thing I do with snare in general is I try to remove what it doesn't need to free up headroom for what I want it to have. So I'm going to grab the high pass filter, make it a little bit steeper curve, and roll off some low end. All the way to 100, right? It's more going to be a kick drum that's going to be hanging out down there. Doesn't really affect the sound of the snare. And then what I try to do is go on the hunt for any more frequencies that I can take out. In this case, the snare has plenty of crack, I suppose, but it's got some kind of weird mid-rangey thing happening. Take a listen. Right? Right around 1K. I'm going to take some of that out, about 3 dB or so. So all we've done at this point is just carved out some of the low end and a little bit of some rattly stuff that I don't want. And then the final thing is to kind of find the fundamental fat frequency of the snare. And it's usually going to be in the low mids, maybe the 200s, 300s. And so what I'm going to do is just grab this little guy around here and go on the hunt for what makes the snare sound super fat. Make it a tighter Q, and let's go boosting. So now we're getting away from the fatness. That sounds pretty good. Getting away from it there. So 222. Let's make that our fat frequency. I'm going to dial this back down to under 6 dB. Smooth out a more natural EQ curve here. And take a listen to that. All right, and then since I have increased the volume substantially, you could see the output up top was not matching the input. And so like we talked about yesterday with gain matching, I'm going to dial the output of this EQ down to match. All right, a little closer. So now let's bypass and see what we've done. It's real simple. It's about the same volume, but now we have a rounder, fatter tone on the snare drum, which is now primed and ready for some compression if you so choose to do. So there it is, fattening up a snare drum with a little bit of EQ. Carve out what you don't need, find what that fat frequency is, emphasize it a bit, gain match it, and you have a rounder tone. It seems like you're not doing a lot of drastic EQ, but then when you bypass it, you realize you've taken it a long way. Hope that helps. Again, this is Graham at therecordingrevolution.com. We'll see you on tomorrow's video.